Hello everyone, and this is going to be weird, but originally this video was going to be posted a month ago, but then something shocking happened. I got lazy. I get burnout and schoolwork and such, but with our current events, I know I won't have to be worrying about that anytime soon. But to ignore current events, I do feel like my first attempt at making the video was okay. I had some problems with the camera angles, so this time I'm gonna redo it, but I think that's a good thing because while shopping around the chaos and everything closing, okay, I won't address the current events anymore, but I did get an extra one, so we do have a couple more pops than normal if I made the video the first round. So this is kind of my second attempt at making the video. I think it'll be better, and let's begin. So starting off, I have Goku, more specifically Super Saiyan Goku, wearing like a jacket and long pants. And to make something clear, I don't watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm just familiar of like the cultural impact it has as like being helmed as like one of the greatest animes of all time. It's easily one of the most popular. Funko has made a lot of Dragon Ball Z pops, and for some reason, this one always caught my eye. It's just, there's something kind of cool or casual about this pop. I think it's the jacket and the outfit just looks cool. It could be that I've always wanted like a Super Saiyan Goku, because I do have the Hot Topic Goku. It was always like one of my original pops that I've ever had. And I've got, it's too big for the screen, but I've always had the I got the Great Ape Goku recently. So Dragon Ball Z is familiar in my collection, despite never watching a single full episode of the show. And I guess it's just the cool characters and the cultural impact. Like, I might have never seen an episode, but I at least know who the characters are and what it's about and what happens. So, enough talk. Let's open this one up. So we've got Goku, and I think this head is different. Like, I know the old Super Saiyan Goku, and I'm pretty sure this is a different head, or I hope it's a different head. And then looking at the paint on this one, there is a little orange bleed on the top of the belt, and the shoes look a little fuzzy, though not totally problematic. You can see the orange bleeding into the ends of the sweater, but not a problematic nitpick paint job. It's good, and this pop I know is a little old, like it's a year old or something, but it's just I kind of wanted this one and I got it last minute, which I guess is good because I got it for like a discounted amount. And oh yeah, and I did get this one at GameStop. I forgot to mention it, but yeah, so just thought this was a cool last minute grab. Finally have a Super Saiyan with my other Gokus, so kind of neat to have this guy. Now these next two I got at Box Lunch, because at the time when I got these, they were having a buy one, get one 50% off sale, so I could get these two for a pretty good price. But I'll first show the one that I wanted the least out of the two, and that's the shopkeeper from It Chapter 2, more specifically, Stephen King's cameo. And for those who don't know, Stephen King is an author, and he writes a lot of thriller and scary related books, one of them being It. And I think it's super cool that for the second movie, or the second part, they give him a cameo. Because I know who he is. I've like seen interviews and I follow his social media and such, and he just seems like a really cool guy. So when I sat there in the theater watching this movie, I'm like, oh, it's Stephen King, and that was a cool cameo. And it was a pretty alright movie and pretty enjoyable to see. So anyway, this is his cameo as the shopkeeper, because in the movie, Bill visits a shop, and of course he runs it, and he's got that cup he has, but it's just I like Stephen King, and I thought it was a cool cameo, and I'm glad they made a character pop that was a cameo, because Funko doesn't really do cameo pops. I mean, discluding Stan Lee, but anyway, let's open this one up. So here we have the shopkeeper. His glasses look really nice. Let's see, the paint job. Aside from a couple leaks, like, I don't think that black is supposed to be there. Oh, looks like he's got an earring on. See that dot? And aside from the shoes, the shoe lines being a bit wavy, paint job's really good here. Like, even the tiny objects like the book and the cup don't bleed onto the hands. And is it me, or does this one stand funny? Like, let me pull it out, but he seems kind of tilted. Is it just me? Like, he doesn't look like he's standing straight. But I have a feeling that they did that on purpose, and I think it's kind of unique. Like, it could be a mistake. Maybe he's supposed to stand straight, but I think it just looks really interesting. Because, yeah, his body looks a little curved. It could be me. It could be that they produced this pop wrong, but I think it looks nice. And before I move on to the next one thing I want to mention is I appreciate them making the pop of an old celebrity and they make it current day. Like, I really appreciate that. Like, you see a bunch of pops like Bill Nye, pretty much almost every rock band pop and all that stuff. They make them kind of young, which is alright, I guess. It'd be a cool idea to have them at an old age. I just think they'd look really cool. And I thought this was really awesome just to have an old, current day Stephen King. So, really glad that Funko decided to make this one despite being a cute little cameo. And speaking of it too, the other pop I got at Box Lunch was the one that I was actually pretty excited to get. And that was the Pennywise Meltdown. Now, this scene was more of like a flashback hallucination scene, but it's basically him as like a human. And I thought this scene in the movie where he's talking to Beverly and he's literally like cutting his face, making it look like that, it didn't like jump scare me, but that scene always sat with me. Like, it was a good amount of like creepy, not like ooh scary, just kind of like oh that's really creepy. And I just thought it was like that and the fun house were like my favorite scenes in the movie. So I thought it was really cool that they made this version of Pennywise, and I'm really excited to like see the details again of this one. So let's open this one up. So we've got Pennywise. The hair looks really nice. I'm a fan of like really detailed hair. If you saw my pop unboxing featuring Luke Spiller, you could see that I'm a fan of like crazy accurate pop hair. And the fading and the paint looks good. There is a bit of missing paint over here, I can tell, like to the right of my thumb. But they really like indent it. Like, it does feel like a cut. Like, that's really good on Funko's part, that it's not just paint. And then, of course, they give him the creepy teeth that he's known for. He's got blood on his fingers with the paint. And he's in his overalls, and he's standing kind of funny, which I really like this pop. It came out super well. I love this scene. It's really creepy, and I think the way Funko made this pop really worked out, and I really got to appreciate it with like the details of like the cuts and the face paint and the hair and such. So really good pop, and it's rare for me to get a pop based on a scary movie, but it's just I love this scene, and this was a good pop. And once again, speaking of Stephen King, this is the last of the ones that I got from a while ago. And this one I got at Barnes & Noble, which I think Barnes & Noble is a pretty good store to go to. They've gotten a lot better with their pops, and I might have said something when I got that Barnes & Noble exclusive thing from my previous Funko video, but anyway, now this one I've been waiting a long time for to get, and I was so glad they had a couple when I went over and got it, and that's the real Stephen King pop. Yes, they made another Stephen King. This time he's younger, and it's more the icons thing, which this is the exclusive where he's wearing a lighter suit. He's holding a book open while holding a bloody axe, and there's blood all over his head. I think that's a reference to Carrie, which is another one of his books. So, and then this is him current day. So, this is one where I thought the exclusive looked better than the common, and I kind of like the references to his other stories, because I know the blood on his head is a reference to Carrie. I don't know what the axe is a reference to. Like, some probably will say it's The Shining, but that's just the movie. I know in the book he had a croquet mallet instead of an axe. It could be for a different story, I don't know, but I've been really wanting this one. I think it's clever that they made it a Barnes & Noble exclusive, because he writes books and Barnes & Noble's a bookstore. So anyway, let's open up this one. Yeah, the people were right. One thing I was confused about was they said the blood on his head was metallic. Looking at it in person, yeah, it is metallic, which I originally had a problem with. I'm like, blood? I know blood contains iron, but not in the kind of iron that makes it metallic. But I do think it looks good on this pop. The way it kind of rains down. I do have an issue that it doesn't cover the eyebrow bit, because it clearly looks like it would cover up his eyebrows in certain spots. But, oh, never mind. I hyped myself up. Looking at the book, I thought it had writing in it, but no, it doesn't. Though, his outfit looks good. No paint job mistakes that I can see. He's painted super well. Probably the best paint job of this unboxing. Yeah, I don't even mind the bleeding blood, the leaking blood into his ear, and the weird way they painted his sideburn. But no, this one looks really cool, and I've really wanted this one because, again, I like Stephen King, and I like how they designed this one. How, even though this probably isn't accurate to, like, a drawing he did or an outfit he wore, it just kind of resembles Stephen King for what he does. He's an author, he writes books, and they're mostly in the scary horror genre. I really like this one. So glad to have it. Before I move on to the last one, there were two pops that I got, but I got them in a different location, and I sadly forgot to bring them with me. Though thankfully, I recorded a separate review of those two pops. So before I go to the last one, I'm going to kind of show that part of the review right now. So there was one that I received in the mail that I was pretty excited for. Then there was one that I got recently at GameStop. And I'll show the one that I got at GameStop first. And that's the Pokemon Eevee. Now, of course, to all you people who know, I love Pokemon. I basically made a video of me reviewing the Squirtle pop, because I had the Target Pikachu and Charmander and Bulbasaur. And Eevee, of course, is a really popular Pokemon, and I just think Eevee is super adorable and one of the cutest Pokemon ever, so of course they had to make a pop of it, and it's so cute. And as I make this, they're actually making a whole lot more Pokemon pops, like Mr. Mime, Vulpix, Mewtwo, Pichu, Cubone, Rattata, Growlithe. So you're probably wondering, am I going to get every pop in the Pokemon line? No. Yeah, I feel like not only should they focus on the bigger Pokemon, they should also focus on Pokemon outside the Kanto region. Like, Pichu's a start, and I want to get Pichu. But who was asking for a pop on Vulpix or Rattata? Like, Mr. Mime, Cubone, and to an extent Growlithe I can understand. Though I will admit, I do like Angry Pikachu. I might want that one. But, anyway, going off of that, Eevee was one I was excited for. I just think Eevee is so adorable, so let's open this one up. And keeping up with the tradition of giving Pokemon Pops backgrounds, we've got a normal one, because Eevee is a normal type. But let's look at the pop itself. Giving it a good look, yeah, I love how Eevee looks. And I don't see a big paint problem with this one, which, of course, the colors on Eevee are fairly simple, but I'm a guy who nitpicks on paint jobs, but I think this one is actually pretty good. The thing that's kind of jarring, and it might be the glare, but I think the hair looks brighter, it looks different than the pop color of the rest of the body. It could be how I'm seeing it, but I just love Eevee, and I just think this pop is so adorable. Like, I've been debating on, like, what my favorite Pokemon pop is so far. Like, right now, it's either this or Bulbasaur, because I loved the Bulbasaur pop, but no, this one's so adorable, and I'm so glad to have it in my collection, and to join Pikachu and the rest of the gang. So adorable, and I'm really glad to have that with me now. But of course, the big one is whatever I have in this package. So, to give a little background, I got this on booksamillion.com, which Booksamillion isn't where I live. It's more like Central America, kind of like Alabama, Mississippi, that kind of area. I'm West Coast, so we get Barnes & Noble and Borders. But there's this one Booksamillion pop, because Booksamillion gets some pretty decent exclusives. There was one that I really wanted, and thanks to my English class, I've sparked interest in wanting to get this pop finally, and that's Edgar Allan Poe. Let me take this out. The famous Gothic author Edgar Allan Poe, and there are currently 3 versions of this pop. We have this one where he's holding a raven in his hand, clearly a reference to one of his most well-known stories. They made an NYCC exclusive of him carrying a book. It looks kind of boring, but now actually reading Edgar Allan Poe in class, I don't hate it as much. I mean, he's an author, he's carrying a book. It's just not as, like, edgy as him holding the raven. And then they're gonna make a common, which is him holding a skull, which I guess is okay. I don't really hear Edgar Allan Poe stories that involve skulls. But the raven, I just thought looked the coolest. This was on my top 20 Funko Pops of 2019. So glad to have it with me. It's also my first Booksamillion exclusive, but let's open him up. Now, I'm never a fan of ordering online unless it's like a desperate want, like there is no way I'm gonna get this pop, but I prefer getting it for real, because not only is it more fun, but you get what you want and you can look at paint jobs. Though looking at this one, I don't see a single bad paint job with this one, so guess I got lucky with this one. But yeah, it's just, I'm never a fan of ordering online unless it's like a desperate need, like Edgar Allan Poe, because like I said, I don't have Booksamillion anywhere near me, so this was kind of a desperate need. I like how he looks, I like the hair. I'm not a fan of the painted on mustache, but I guess his mustache is very thin, so I'll give it a pass. I kind of like the lines under his eyes, makes him look tired or old. And then, of course, his raven looks really cool. He does look tilted. Like, I'd imagine he'd have it straight up and not tilted like the raven's about to fall, but still doesn't ruin this awesome pop. So glad I could have this after mentioning him in my favorite pops of the year. So, if only I could have brought Edgar Allan Poe to meet Stephen King. Oh, sorry. Anyway, now on to the real last pop. Of course, this was during the time where every store closed, though thankfully, there was one store that was open that had an exclusive I was considering, and that store was Walmart. And going back to Walmart, they've been doing a better job at handling pops. They have their own section in the video game aisle. Some of them are damaged, some of them aren't, but both Target and Walmart have been doing better with their pops. So I'm glad that I could get this Walmart exclusive at their store and not have to order on eBay or online or anything, because that's kind of awkward. This last one that I got was the black and white Babe Ruth, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this, and if I have, sorry if I repeat this, but I'm not really a sports fan, but the only sport that I care about is baseball. I enjoy baseball. That's the sport where I know stuff about how to play it, who can be in it, what are the teams, what are the rules and all that stuff. And of course, one of the biggest figures in baseball history was Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees. And you can see that they made a pop of him, and there is one of him in color, and there's a really hard to find NYCC exclusive of him swinging the bat, and looking it up, it is a recreation of the way he swings, so no wonder why that pops over $200. But anyway, this one really caught my eye, and it's weird because this one's in black and white. And I'll probably tell you why I got this one instead of the one in color, but I really want to look at this one first. So let's open this one up. Oh yeah, and of course they give you a stand, because I think with the way he's positioned, you can't really make him stand on his own, so thankfully they give us a stand. And there we go. So looking at Babe Ruth, of course it would be harder to ruin the paint job on this one because it's black and white. The reason why I got this one in black and white is I feel like it's more accurate to all the pictures they've taken of him, because he was an old baseball player, like late 1800s, early 1900s, so of course only black and white images existed. So it's just kind of like how we now see Babe Ruth, just the legends we hear of him and the black and white images that show him. So I just think it looks really cool when he's black and white, and of course people are kind of like, why would you want it in black and white? It's less color, but I guess it's just either the accuracy or the memorability. The black and white really sets in how much of an impact he was. He's such an old legend that black and white really suits him. I think also why I wanted this one in black and white is I always think of that scene in The Sandlot where Benny has a dream and Babe Ruth talks to him, and Babe Ruth is all black and white, so you could also count him a part of my Sandlot collection. Yes, I don't own Benny, but I could basically call this Babe Ruth a part of the Sandlot collection. So I've never really owned a sports pop. This could be a first, and speaking of that, it is nice with the series they're doing sports legends, because they also have Muhammad Ali, but I wonder what they're going to do for sports legends. Are they going to add really old sports players from lots of different sports? But at the same time, they've made old sports players for the other series, the football series and Michael Jordan and all that stuff. So I feel like they were kind of late on sports legends. They could really make sports legends and such, but when you already use Michael Jordan and football players as part of the main series, why wouldn't you just put this as MLB? But minor nitpick, and I'm really glad I got this black and white Babe Ruth because I really think he looks good in black and white. And there we have my finds, plus Eevee and Edgar Allan Poe, who sadly can't be here today, but don't worry, as soon as I can, I will put them up with the others, so Eevee can join the rest of my Pokemon collection, and Edgar Allan Poe can join Stephen King's. But I'm really glad I got these finds. I'm glad to have these pops and these exclusives. With our current events, sadly, I won't be able to pop shop for a while, so hopefully when every store opens again, I can look for even more pops, because I know there's a lot that I'm looking forward to with like the New York and London Toy Fair announcements and such, so really gotta hold my wallet and not spend anything until those come out, but for now, I'll just have to enjoy these and with what I have, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Also, comment below if you own any of these pops that I mentioned. Consider subscribing for more pop unboxings as well as other content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.